Gonna talk about the NBA. Honestly, I don't know why I said that and then started the countdown, but I mean, we're gonna roll with it. It's been a minute since
it was pretty cool.
Allied Rivals. Thank you very much. I'm happy about that. Got a lot of NBA offseason news to report on. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. And that was Caedmon Bauer on the what's the instrument? The table-esque. The table-esque. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the Allied Rivals, and I talk too loud, and I can already feel my voice getting hoarse. So that's probably not a great way to start off the episode, but we're back. It's been about a week. Caedmon, how are you doing? Thanksgiving's come and gone. How was your week, man?
Oh, man. It was, the week has been, let's say that, tiring. So I went to Wisconsin on, what was that, Friday, right. I think at noon.
Okay.
And then came home Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
This is like 3 hours away. And then Thanksgiving, my cousins were up there, so the house is kind of packed and everything. So we're like, let's do a day trip. And that was tiring on Thanksgiving. But the food is great. Thanksgiving was a lot of fun. Did a lot of basketball.
Nice.
Basketball today. So
always a good time.
Yes,
always
sir.
A good time. Nice.
How about you, AJ?
Pretty good. It was sad. One of my friends asked me, she said, hey, what are your plans for Thanksgiving? And I said, you know what I'm going to do? Spend time with my family, grab a root beer, and watch Ravens Steelers. Two of those things did not happen. Ravens Steelers didn't happen. So I was like, well, there goes my Thursday night entertainment. But that's all right. Got to spend the night with family. So it was a good time. It's been a good, busy week. I had some school assignments to get done, but it's been good. It's been good so far.
Amazing.
Yep. And speaking of us, the Allied Rivals, it's been a while. We've had some scheduling conflicts. To anyone who commented on our videos earlier today before we got started, sorry, we had some scheduling mishaps, but we are here talking about the NBA. We got some Allied Rivals shorts. We got one that we just did on our favorite stadiums. Caedmon, as always, is the host for those. You guys got to check it out. That was a fun one that we did.
Yeah, and can I say something before we move on from that?
Go ahead.
All right. So we were talking about our favorite jerseys from stadiums from the MLB, NBA, and NFL. And I would like to clarify something. I made a mistake, very minor mistake, but it is very important. The Packers, the Lambeau Field does not have a dome, which is what I said. I was talking about the bowl. That is what I meant. We had a couple comments about that. So we're all good. Clarify that. You should go watch it.
There we go. And we will be sure to place a comment on that video as well to clarify for anyone. Thank you, Lightning Bauer, for calling out Caedmon on that one.
Yes,
also, Caedmon, where's your nickname, man? I thought
it's
you were gone. Where'd it go?
No, it's gone, man. So
not feeling it.
So I didn't feel it. Yeah.
No, all right. Well, leave us a comment. Let us know. Maybe we'll let the viewers decide. What should Caedmon's name be? Don't choose anything ridiculous. But there's all as normal. There's a decent amount of news to get into. MLB for the most part has been pretty quiet. NCAA college basketball finally getting back into midseason form. Villanova, number 3, got stunned by unranked Virginia Tech in overtime. That's going to hurt in the top 25 for sure. Absolutely crazy. But we're not here to talk about college basketball. College football, a lot of stuff still. Alabama and Florida still holding their place in the SEC. Bama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State, they're still all your top 10, but Ohio State has had some COVID outbreaks. So if Northwestern wins their last 2 games, it may end up being them versus Indiana instead of Ohio State in the conference championship, which could mess up a whole bunch of Ohio State CFP plans for the college football playoff.
Get rid of Ohio State.
I am all for that. College football's over. NFL still going this week. You already know we cover the NFL pretty frequently. We're going to try to get in a video on that this week and also a college football episode if we can. So be sure to subscribe, like, and comment with that notification bell on. If you're on YouTube, you've been here before. You know how this whole thing works. We don't need to tell you. So, Caedmon, if there's anything else you want to say, I think it's time we go ahead and get into some NBA free agency news.
I think it's time to, man. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So the NBA has had a decent amount of stuff go through. There's been a whole bunch of news going around. Going through the list, I'm trying to sort of what we want to talk about. Just want to go ahead and congratulate Trevor Ariza for being the most traded player in NBA history. Officially traded 10 times this year, 3 times in the last week.
10 times in his career.
I'm not sure. Three times in the last week, 10 times his career. I'm not sure how to feel about that if I'm him, but hey, he's getting up there in age for the NBA, but he's still consistent. Caedmon, do you have anything any news, any signing, non-signing that you want to specifically talk about first? We're going to try to keep this episode around 30 minutes. There's a lot to go over and not a lot of time. So, Caedmon, anything you want to start with specifically?
I think we should just start with like the general news, like stuff that has kind of like been talked about but hasn't really started yet. Let's get into that kind of stuff.
All right, we'll hit the news, then we'll hit some of the signings, and then we'll finish off with trade. Sound good?
Oh, awesome! I like that.
All right, perfect. Let's do it.
And at the end, no, let's wait for the end.
Okay, let's save it for the end. Yeah. So first off, Anthony Davis, one of the biggest moving pieces this offseason, coming off of a huge championship with LeBron and the Lakers, opted out of his original contract, but is now renegotiating with the Lakers. Caedmon, is there any chance that he doesn't stay in LA?
Don't think so. I think he's definitely going to stay in LA. They're willing to pay him a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of teams would be willing to pay him a lot. Lakers are willing to pay him a lot because they've lost some pieces over the offseason. So they're like trying to get guys, and we'll talk about this later, like Marc Gasol and other guys.
Very true.
But they really need AD, and I think they realize that. So I think they're going to do pretty much anything they can to keep AD, and I think he wants to stay there too.
Yep. Next up, we talk about the Miami Heat, the complete underdog that shocked the world from the Eastern Conference this year. The 5 seed making it all the way to the NBA Finals with Jimmy Butler. Their organization said that they want to take care of the players they have, and they've already done a pretty good job of doing that. Re-signed Goran Dragic. Of course, Jay Crowder, unfortunately, is going to go to the Suns, who made some other moves, but we're going to talk about that later. Caedmon, what do you think the Heat need to do this offseason to be able to move into a prime position to make another run next year?
I think they've already done a lot of what they could. They re-signed Goran Dragic. I believe Bam had a huge extension.
He did 5 years. That's correct.
Yeah. So they're just looking as good as they were last year, basically, except without Jay. But I mean, they still have so much. It seems like, I mean, let's say this: before the playoffs, they did not look like a team that had a ton of depth.
True.
But now they do. Going through the playoffs, looks like they have more and more depth, more and more guys that could play, even when you had guys injured like Bam or Dragic. Dragic? Is it Dragic or Dragic?
Dragic. I think it's Dragic, yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that.
Perfect.
But yeah, Heat are good, man.
Yeah. I hope they make another run. They were fun to see last year. And I mean, they didn't have Dragic or Bam for half of the final series. So, they're healthy. Maybe it turns out differently. Maybe it goes to 7. They're definitely a fun team to watch. I will totally give them that.
Yeah. Hope they don't play the Bucks in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bucks, Lightning Bauer comments, why did Bogdanovich cancel the trade to the Bucks? Will they get someone else who's a player? It's Bogdan. I think it's a typo.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to that because it wasn't just Bogdan canceling the trade. There's a little bit more into that. First of all, this is huge news. James Harden is one of the best players in the NBA. Let's get that out of the way. If there's any player who can drop 50 points nowadays on you, just, on a whim, it's James Harden. Yeah. But he hasn't really had that much success ever since he's left the Thunder. He has never made an NBA Finals. He's always had decent supporting cast from Trevor Ariza to Chris Paul to Russell Westbrook now. And every year, the Rockets just can't make the finals. And now he has declined a $50 million per year extension from the Rockets and said he wants to join the Nets. We talked about this for a second. Caedmon, if this goes through, if Harden goes to Brooklyn, what does that mean for the East, for the Nets, for Harden? What do you think?
Oh my goodness. The Nets are looking like they have just stacked with stars now, really. And if they get Harden, they've just added a whole new dimension to their offense. Now a guy who can score like crazy, who is honestly, you got KD and a bunch of other guys that they've picked up now, but he would be really the one guy that would really fill out that offense. And if he does go to the Nets, that's a scary team right there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And honestly, if he does go to the Nets, and assuming the Nets are fully healthy, because they haven't been fully healthy for 3 years, but let's assume they are. That means you've got Kyrie Irving, who's one of, if not the best ball handler in the league. Passes are insane. Crossovers are insane. You've got Kevin Durant, who's one of the best defensive players when he's healthy. Great shooter, great free throw shooter, former MVP. You're going to have DeAndre Jordan, who's arguably the best rebounder in the NBA today. And then you add James Harden to your front line, the guy who scores 50 points at a time. That to me makes them easily, if they're healthy, the scariest team in the East, because you essentially have an all-star lineup just in your first 5, but that's assuming they stay healthy. Durant's been hobbled for years. Kyrie's been out for 2 years in a row, and DeAndre Jordan got hurt right before the playoffs. I don't know what to think about the Nets, man, when it actually goes to them. They'll be crazy.
Yeah. But the one thing is they will not have a super deep bench. They've been really working on the starting lineup, and they've done a great job so far. And if they get Harden, that's unbelievable.
Yep.
But let's say those guys get injured, you have to pull in guys from your bench, and then you get worried about the Nets.
Yeah, I think that is one of the nice things about the Nets, though, with their injuries, because, they've had so many problems over the last few years, but that just means that their younger players have now gotten about 2 years of experience. Jared Allen, Tyler Johnson, Chris LeVert, all of them now are going in as seasoned players at this point. So, there are a lot worse situations to be in than the Nets.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So let's get to Lightning Bauer's comment and yours. So the Bucks made one big trade that evolved into a bigger trade, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But Bogdan Bogdanović was initially going to get traded to the not to the Bucks. I cannot think of where he was now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Bogdanović. I'm so sorry. My mind just completely slipped for Sacramento. He was in Sacramento. He was with the Kings. So Bogdan Bogdanović and Justin James. So basically Bogdan Bogdanović was getting traded for Dante DiVincenzo, Arian Ilyasova, and DJ Wilson. So before we even talk about what happened, as a Bucks fan, Caedmon, what did you think about the trade? Did you like it? Did you think the Bucks gave up too much? What were your thoughts?
They definitely gave up, I think, a little bit too much, but I think they're really trying to obviously get the big 3, and then with Bogdan, kind of even like a big 4. But, oh, man, they gave up a lot for Drew Holiday. Too much. And they were willing to give up more for Bogdanović, and he didn't want to go there. And we'll talk about that whole thing later.
Yeah.
But I think the Bucks definitely gave up too much. They gave up big pieces in their bench, such as and guys that were starters last year, such as George Hill.
Ooh, not the Hill, not the Drew one yet. Just Bogdan first. Bogdan.
Yeah. Well, yeah. AJ, you got anything else on that?
I thought this was a better trade, a much better trade than the initial Drew Holiday trade. I thought it was all right. Bogdan's a very, very good starting 5 player. He's a lock around the boards. But so what happened was Bogdanovich, first off, didn't want to get traded in the first place. And now the NBA is launching an investigation into the Milwaukee Bucks because they spoke to Bogdan before free agency had even started. So technically, they weren't even allowed to make this trade with him. They did it too soon. They did it ahead of time. So now the Bucks are under investigation, which caused the trade to fall through. And now Bogdanovich is now an Atlanta Hawk of all people. 4 years, $72 million of all.
Oh my goodness.
So Caedmon, what do you think as a Bucks fan? You could have had Bogdan. Did the Bucks botch this to you? Is it annoying? What do you think?
It's a little bit annoying because I was really hoping they get him to get another guy that helps Giannis rebound. Really, that was one of the big things, and play defense as well. Because even though Brook Lopez is a great defender and gets the blocks, he's not as fast, and he doesn't get all the rebounds. And so if they would have gotten him, that would have been really useful, especially on defense and off the boards, like you said. Didn't get him. They're gonna do fine. I mean, they've had to make adjustments the past 3 years, and it's been okay. I just really want to see them see a team that I know is gonna go to the championship because against the Raptors, oh boy, and then the Heat, and then it seems like every time it's because the opponent overpowers. It's because the opponent overpowers the Bucks' weaknesses, and. Very frustrating.
Yeah, I think the thing to me is the Drew Holiday trade. We'll get to that. I have very strong feelings about that. But I thought the trade for Bogdan was smart. I think it was a good decision. But then I find out it's illegal. This to me, I'm like, you guys are an NBA organization. Y'all are making pushes to the finals every year, and you make a mistake as simple as talking to a guy before you're allowed to. You couldn't wait till Friday? Come on, man. That's something I don't get. I'm just you're a professional organization. Come on.
Do better than that.
Yeah. Come on. I think that's for the most part, most of the general news. I think it's time to get into signings. If you've got anything else.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the signings. Let's do it.
Perfect. So DeMar DeRozan extended his stay with the Spurs. Always just a decent, scrappy team, as usual. Gordon Hayward, this is a big one. Gordon Hayward signed with the Hornets. The Hornets for $120 million over 4 years. Caedmon, thoughts on that?
They really expect a ton out of him. And I mean, he's great, and they can expect a ton out of him. Are they expecting too much is my question. Are they giving him too much? Should it have been that long of a signing? I don't know. They have a lot of faith in that man. I'll say that.
Yeah, to me, I'm just you're paying a lot of money for a guy who can't stay healthy. When's the last time Gordon Hayward played a full season? That's my thing. No, when he's healthy, good shooter, good post-up man, good rebounder, great athlete. But it's a risk. But okay,
injured. I don't know. They have a ton of faith in him and keeping him healthy. AJ, what else we got?
Well, De'Aaron Fox signed the first of the big max contracts with the Sacramento Kings. 5 years, $163 million. And according to the Rose Rule, if he makes the All-NBA team, makes Defensive Player of the Year, or wins MVP, that increases to $195.6 million. Man, what do you think about that, Caedmon?
Oh, could it be a waste? I don't know. They're paying him a ton of money. It's gonna be amazing, obviously. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's gonna have a lot of pressure on himself feeling like, oh man, I gotta get that. I gotta get that award. Come on, man, I gotta do better than that. Like I gotta keep scoring high. I gotta get the rebounds. You know, I feel like he's gonna have a ton of pressure on himself, where he's gonna have to score hard. Like, what awards would he get? I mean, he get Defensive Player of the Year, probably. MVP, maybe. But I mean, you have guys like Giannis. If you want to get MVP, you got to play better than Giannis. You got to at least get up high in points, like with Harden or Giannis or someone.
Or LeBron.
Or LeBron even.
Yeah.
You got to get rebounds like AD. You got to you got to be at least like top 3 and at least 2 stats
basically
to really be even a candidate for any of those things, for any award, really.
Very true.
So they're putting a lot of pressure on him. He has a lot of pressure on himself. I think he wants it, though. I think he really wants it.
Yep. I agree. I think De'Aaron Fox, he's great. He's a great young star. I'll give him that. He's a great shooter. He's smart with the basketball. Kings are trying to protect their future. I really think there's not much more to say than that. There were a couple of really important signings. The Clippers getting Serge Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, re-signed with the Raptors, and Jay Crowder heading to go play with the Phoenix Suns. Any thoughts on those three, Caedmon?
Fred VanVleet, man, they really needed to keep him because wasn't Marc Gasol, didn't he get traded away? Or isn't he? He's with the Lakers now.
Marc Gasol signed with the Lakers.
So that's bad for the Raptors. And I mean, you know what? When I can't think, what's his face? Guy who left the Raptors. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard. When he left, everyone was like, oh man, the Raptors are going to be terrible. And then Fred VanVleet just was like, no, we're not going to be because I'm here. And he was so good the entire season, really led the offense, a really explosive player all around. So they really need to keep him, especially losing Marc Gasol. It's going to really hurt them. But Fred VanVleet proved he can do all.
Yeah, massive respect to the Raptors, man. Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. I mean, these guys are good. This is like the best team you've never heard of, honestly. Crazy. Yeah, I also think Avery Bradley going to the Lakers too. That's a really big one. He's one of the best men off the bench you can get, and he's going to start with the Lakers, man. I don't know. The Lakers are very, very smart with their money, especially this offseason. I think that's a big one. One other big one the Lakers did, because they're brilliant, they signed reigning Sixth Man of the Year, Montrezl Harrell.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude. Oh, my goodness.
Like, if they can keep AD, then their losses have done like nothing and they've gained more, and then they're even better and they're built to beat nearly everyone. And then I'm glad the Bucks are not in the same conference.
For real. Yep. Couple more. Tristan Thompson is signing with the Celtics to fill the void that Gordon Hayward is going to have. And Jason Tatum nailed that $195 million contract for 5 years. Worth it or not, Caedmon, if you're Boston?
It's worth it, man. I think so. I mean, so Gordon Hayward, when he was injured, you saw how that like ruined the Celtics for a lot. And Jason Tatum had a lot more that he had to do with less to work with to do it. And so they really need Tristan Thompson because now they're losing Gordon Hayward completely. And you just need someone else to at least fill part of that role.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to move guys up as well. They're gonna have to pull guys from the bench that they had and really make players out of those guys. But they had no other choice, man. They had no other choice.
Yep, agreed. Speaking of max contracts, Brandon Ingram signed a max contract for 5 years and $158 million with the Pelicans. I don't know how they're going to be able to pay everyone in the next 3 years, but whatever they do, they do. And Donovan Mitchell, after his incredible playoff performances, signed a max contract with the Jazz, 5 years, $195 million. What'd you think of those, Caedmon?
I'll start. I'll talk about Donovan Mitchell. The Jazz really need to build, like, they have a bunch of great players, but they don't have any real stars right now. And so they're trying to really get at least a few guys that they can really rely on to like lead the team. And I think they're going to try to make him one of those guys, Donovan Mitchell. And I think that's pretty much it. They have a lot of faith in Donovan Mitchell, and they're willing to pay him a lot of money for it because they can.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's really the power of that team. I mean, no disrespect to Mike Conley, no disrespect to Rudy Gobert, but we all knew who carried the Jazz in the playoffs, and it was Donovan Mitchell. He is this close to becoming one of like top 5 superstars in the NBA if he continues his playoff run into the regular season. This dude would drop 45 points on you whenever he wanted to against the Denver Nuggets, who are an incredibly defensive team. So, if I'm Utah, I think that's a brilliant move. And, I mean, Brandon Ingram just took home Most Improved Player of the Year. So,
and not discounting Rudy Gobert, but he's great on defense, especially. We all know that. But they really need someone that I feel like to pull the team together to make it more complete. And I think he would be the guy to do it.
Very true. That's most of the big signings. The Lakers re-signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Marc Gasol. The Rockets signed Boogie Cousins. Anything you want to comment on that? If not, I think we'll get into trades.
Yeah, I think I'm all good here, man.
All right, perfect. So really, there was only like 2 or 3 trades. So we'll start out with one. Lakers traded for my 6th man of the year, Dennis Schroeder, and gave up Danny Green and the 28th pick in the draft. I think the Lakers won that trade big time. What do you think?
Oh my goodness, dude. What did they give away? Well, okay. What did they get? And then it's like, let's count like how many players they can rely on now. How long can I count? I could count all night. This is insane. The Lakers have, and I don't know what the Thunder are doing in this trade.
Agreed.
AJ, what do you think was going through the minds of the Thunder right here?
I don't know. And I'm going to be honest. I think the Thunder need help. I think they need serious help, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chris Paul is gone. Steven Adams is gone. The Thunder need help. They are in rebuild mode, I think. I think they just sold all their pieces this year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about
terrible. It's terrible. What have they done this offseason? You have the Lakers, who have literally made their offense way better and their defense at least somewhat better. And then you have the Thunder, who have taken pretty much everything out of their offense, and they still have no defense. So, Thunder, oh man.
Rebuild mode. Sad. It hurts too. Because, like, how long ago was it? Like, almost not even a decade ago. Funny. It was Durant, it was Westbrook, it was Harden, it was Ibaka. And this team was in the finals. And then one by one, they all are gone.
Trickled away.
It hurts, man. It hurts me. One other thing that the Thunder did, speaking of the Thunder, they traded Chris Paul away for Kelly Oubre Jr., Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, and Jalen LeCue, and a first-round pick in 2022. No. I mean, Kelly and Ricky Rubio, they're trying to build a young core, I guess, but like I said, it's just a fire sale. It's a fire sale for the Thunder.
And they got rid of Abdel.
Yeah, they did.
What?
Yep.
Like what? Come on, man. Yep. Who are you going to rely on now?
Yeah, it's a tanking year. Can we agree on that? It's a tanking year for the Thunder.
It's a tanking. It is.
It's a tanking. Yep. Well, we don't have a lot of time left, so let's get into the biggest trade of the offseason. This is going to take a minute to explain. So, initially, it was a trade between the Pelicans and the Bucks. The Pelicans got Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and 3 first-round picks and gave up Drew Holiday. Before we even get to the eventual trade, because this became a 4-team trade, initial thoughts on the first trade: Hill, They gave up Hill, Bledsoe, and 3 first rounders for Jrue Holiday. What do you think?
Oh, they gave up too much. I mean, they're obviously trying to get the big three with Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Jrue Holiday. No. Gave up too much for it. They gave up big pieces of their bench. They gave up draft picks. It was too much. What if the guy gets injured? You just ruined everything you were trying to go for. You lost your best three-point shooter and probably the best three-point shooter in the whole association, George Hill.
If not for Fred VanVleet.
That's true. Yeah. He had at least the best percentage.
True. Very true. Very true.
At least the best percentage. And I was like, what, 3 years in a row? At least 2 years in a row. So they just lost him, and no, I don't want to see. I don't like seeing that happen. Yeah. And I mean, AJ, you got anything else?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the Bulls breaking apart their team after the Jordan era, where they just couldn't pay all the contracts. I think with the Bucks, eventually you're going to have to pay Hill, you're going to have to pay Bledsoe. I mean, these are stud guys, and they're trying to make room for Giannis Antetokounmpo to sign that max extension, which hasn't happened yet. I thought they gave up way too much. I mean, 3 first-round picks, man, dude. The Pelicans have become the masters of the trade. Oh my goodness. They have Zion. They have Ingram. They now have Steven. They had Hill. They have Bledsoe to help lead.
Yep.
But the Pelicans, man, they are the masters of the trade.
I think, honestly, Eric Bledsoe he did not have a good season. I'll just say that. And I don't think he was going to be that great anyway. But AJ, we got a couple comments here.
That's a veteran presence in the locker room, though, for young guys.
True. AJ, we got some comments here. Yeah. Lenny Mars says COVID was the opponent this year. No COVID, and they would have won. And I completely agree. AJ, what do you think, man?
I think they definitely have a better chance to win. They wouldn't have gotten time the Heat to get hot, but that was terrible. I also think it ruined the Clippers season too, because near the end of the season before COVID, they were clicking like nobody's business. I think COVID killed the Bucks season and killed the Clippers season, because otherwise they were they were my 2 finals teams initially coming in. So yeah, I think it killed both of them. But Caedmon, final trade. This is what became of the Hill, Bledsoe, Jrue Holiday trade. And stick with me. This is a lot. So this became a trade with the Pelicans, Milwaukee, Denver, and the Thunder. Okay.
And then
here we go. You ready for this? The Pelicans got Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe. So it's Adams from Oklahoma City and Eric Bledsoe from Milwaukee, and 2 first-round draft picks from Milwaukee, and the right in the future, if they want to swap 2 additional first-round picks with the Bucks. Milwaukee got Jrue Holiday, the draft rights to Sam Merrill, who was the 60th pick, and that was it. Denver got R.J. Hampton, the 24th overall pick. That was pretty much it. And Oklahoma City got a first-round pick from Denver, George Hill, Zylan Cheatham, Josh Gray, Darius Miller, and Kenneth Williams, all from New Orleans. And 2 second-round picks from the Pelicans in 2023 and 2024. That's a lot. Caedmon, what do you think? Is there a winner in this trade? What do you think?
Maybe the Pelicans. I think definitely not the Bucks. I mean, Denver got definitely a lot. Milwaukee didn't get too much. I mean, depending on how Jrue Holiday does this season, I think that's how you can look at this trade later. But right now, without seeing how Jrue Holiday is going to play, I think you have to say Milwaukee got the worst of it, and probably the Pelicans got the best with Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe, as well as the draft picks.
Yeah, I think I'm in complete agreement with you. Oklahoma and Denver, sure, whatever. But, man, the Pelicans got one of the best rebounders in the game, a veteran presence in Eric Bledsoe, and first-round picks for an already young team with a core of Zion Williamson, LaMelo Ball, and Brandon Ingram. This is a good young team. Like, give it 2 years, they're going to be looking at finals. Like, next year, they're a playoff team. 2 years, they're looking at finals. It's crazy. And no disrespect to Jrue Holiday. This dude's a good player. but he's going on into his 12th season, I think, this year. He isn't been good, like but he hasn't been an all-star since 2013. He still averages 19 points a game, though. They're making room for Giannis. They're making room for Giannis, which I think should finish us off right here. Giannis, we've had a lot of people talk about contracts. There's been Anthony Davis. There's been Bam Adebayo, Brandon Ingram, Donovan Mitchell, and still nothing from Giannis. This whole offseason has been just about the Bucks trying to sign Giannis. They got rid of Hill. They got rid of Bledsoe. They tried to get Bogdan. It's been all about trying to make room for Giannis's max contract, and he hasn't signed. He has till December 24th, so he still has about a whole month. Does it concern you he hasn't signed yet, Caedmon? You're the Bucks fan.
No.
Whatever you want to say, go ahead.
I think he's going to sign. I think he's ready to sign. He just hasn't done it yet. There we go. Let's finish up the episode.
All right. I know there's a lot of teams out there that are trying to get him. I know Denver's one of them. I know Dallas has apparently been really pushing for him to sign, but
Dallas would love him.
Yeah, they would. Well, here's hoping he goes back to Milwaukee for you, man. Here's hoping. And right at the end of the episode, Dobes, Drummer Boy, says, "What's good, my guy?" And if I pronounce Dobes wrong, I'm very sorry. But
it is Dobes, I think so.
Good. All right, Dobes, Drummer Boy, what's good, my guy? What's good, Dobes? Thanks for tuning in with us. That's pretty much it. The NBA draft came and went, and the Timberwolves got my boy Ant-Man out of the University of Georgia. The Warriors went with James Wiseman, and the Hornets took LaMelo Ball at pick 3, which is honestly ironic that his dad thinks he can beat Michael Jordan. Obviously not true, and his son is now playing for Michael Jordan's franchise. That's just awesome. So, Caedmon, last question of the night. Is there a winner to you from NBA free agency? Is there who's your big winner from NBA free agency?
Oh, man. You know what? It's really hard. It's just too hard. But I'm going to go with, and this is brave, but the Lakers, I think. Mm-hmm. Because kind of at the beginning of the offseason, they were losing some pieces in mostly their bench, I think. And then when I saw AD hasn't signed with them yet, it's a little concerning. But they've just really taken the offseason to their advantage and really picked up so many guys, gotten the best of way too many trades. I think a team like the Pelicans is probably another team that I would rank up there with them. But off the top of my head, I'd have to go with Lakers.
Yeah, I don't think you can really disagree with that. I mean, this is a team that lost Rajon Rondo and got Avery Bradley. They're going to re-sign AD. They got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Yeah, and they got Montrezl Harrell, and they got Dennis Schroeder. They just got better. Better. Oh, my goodness. That's crazy. And for the sake of being different, I'll just say the Pelicans, they've been the masters of the trade for the last 2 years, building a young core, getting a lot of draft picks. I'll just say that. But, yeah, man, Lakers absolutely dominated this free agency. But I think that's going to wrap us up. Caedmon, you got anything else you want to say before we head out?
I think I am all good here.
All right. Sounds good. Well, the lightning except
if the Bucks don't get Giannis.
Think good thoughts.
I would be very sad.
You got to think good thoughts.
Think good thoughts.
You got to think good thoughts. You could be stuck with the current Chicago Bulls franchise, who has done absolutely realize we didn't mention them at all today. Oh my goodness. Zach LaVine on his own, man. That man is an island. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Lightning Bauer and Dobes Drummer Boy, thank you guys so much for coming in with the chat. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Y'all have been on YouTube so much. Let us know what else you want to talk about. We're hopefully going to get another NFL episode and our first college football episode coming sometime in the next week or two. We will see you guys next time. Caedmon, want to finish us off with a verse as you normally do?
Awesome. Let's do it. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interest, but also to the interests of others. Philippians 2:3-4.
There you go.
That's it for everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. AJ, close out.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys next time on the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. Check out our Allied Rivals shorts on our page. We got a playlist of those. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.